Welcome to the World United. Welcome to the World United.
Is an international speaker, advanced hypnotherapist, and energy worker. She's known for her upbeat, fun personality and joyful expression in leading transformational workshops, hosting TV programs, radio shows, retreats, as well as coaching individuals into having amazing lives. This path has taken her on some of the most incredible journeys around the world, from swimming with dolphins in the Bahamas to training with monks in the temples of Japan, to neuroscience studies in Los Angeles, California, and running retreats in Costa Rica. Jill currently runs Wake Up Energy classes online that transforms body, mind, and soul, that is truly life-changing. So Jill, let me pass it over to you and welcome.
Thank you, Mike. It's always interesting hearing your bio being read to you. It's like, oh yeah, I did those things. That was so fun. So thank you. My talk is on more energy, freeing it up and living it up. And that's if you think of a personal reputation, if I were to think of a word to represent who I am out into the world, would be joy and fun and play, and the spiritual connection to being able to express yourself in life through joy, love, and play. And Drew, you pointed to it as well in your talk, thank you, about even Dr. Emoto's work in cellular structure or crystalline structure that happens from fear-based energy, whether it's negative thought, whether it's toxic environmental conditions, community, that actually changes the structure of the water crystals. And us being 70, 80% water, depending on how hydrated you are, that's actually happening in our physical body. And the way I like to explain it is that when you want to live a fully expressed, love-filled life, if your cells are constrained in managing energy of I'm not worthy, I'm not important, or toxic energy in your surroundings, it's really hard to be able to move from a survival energy to a joyful, love-filled energy. And living it up, freeing it up, if you think of at a cellular level, and Drew, you pointed to this as well about the evolutionary consciousness of coming inside. So we have access to ourselves, and honoring everyone in the world having free will. Access to ourselves is our access to the world with that oneness consciousness. So the cells, if you imagine your 50, 75 trillion cells in your body as healthy, and even imagine them like grapes, like a really yummy grape. It has a smooth outer sheath. It's full of fluid. You know when you bite into it, it's going to be so delicious. And if you think of that, if you imagine that as a healthy cell. And so pathogens, viruses, toxicity just goes on by, right? And you've got this healthy cell, and you even have an open posture, right? Your shoulders are probably back, you're making eye contact, you're open, you're expressive, and the joy can flow through you from there. Now, when we're suffering, either physically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, somehow we're suffering, there's actually a constraint that happens at a cellular level. And the cells, if you imagine them shrinking down into what would look like a grape, a raisin, from a grape to a raisin. So dehydrated, dark, dense, wrinkly. And that's where pathogens and viruses and toxicity can latch on, right? If you think of rough wood that you run your hand along, you're going to get slivers. So if our cells are constrained like that, like raisins, they're dehydrated, we're more apt to be stuck in a fear cycle, more apt to be sick physically, mentally, to have fear-based thoughts, diminishing thoughts, and it's really hard to move from that suffering state to a love-filled state where you can free up your energy and expand and regenerate and build upon itself. So visually, if you think of your cells even going from raisins to grapes, so you can feel people when they're more like raisins, like they tend to go into depression, they tend to have low self-esteem, they likely won't make eye contact or very little, right? And they'll concave, they'll protect their heart, they'll curl in their shoulders. And when you think of somebody that's more built on grapes, they're open, they're generating and creating and inventing ideas, they're expressive, they're looking at you into your eyes, and they're good with it. And it's also representative of that joy state of, I love being around that person. So to take ourselves from raisins to grapes, from disempowering to empowering, from suffering to more energy, freeing it up, living it up, I thought it would be fun, rather than me talk and talk, I thought it'd be fun actually if we do some of the work together and actually do some quick exercises. So this is a practice that I do with my clients or with my classes. And I energy test, I muscle test, and probably a lot of you on this parliament are familiar with muscle testing. But basically, you know, chiropractors, naturopaths, they'll do basic muscle testing where they take 2 fingers by your wrist, and you're strong in the truth and you're weak in a lie. And excuse me. So what I'm doing is I'm testing against charts and programs to see where the distorted energy is. So if we look inside of our context right now, we're speaking into is pure spirituality. And pure spirituality, we could simply test how aligned are we to pure spirituality. And then from that, look at where is the distorted energy, where is the resistance. And so I'll find that quickly, and then testing inside our unified energy field. So the group of people that are on the call right now that are part of this parliament, within our group consciousness, our oneness consciousness, of how aligned are we in pure spirituality. So if I test right now, so we are 14%. So to move that meter over to 100%, looks like we have a limiting belief in the way. Shame. So I am shameful is in the way here. And shame is a really low frequency. It's one of the lowest frequencies. And the method to be able to release this, using meridians in the body in Chinese medicine, traditional Chinese medicine, there's a meridian called the governing meridian. And by using the energy of the palms of our hands, we can shift the energy that we've identified. So what we're doing here is we're bringing enough information from the unconscious, the subconscious, to our conscious awareness, and then we're going to shift the energy so it releases out of the plug, like the stuckness of it, and then integrates into our energy field, raising our frequency. So we're no longer resisting. For this example, I am shameful. So the energy of our hand, you can use, sometimes I'll use crystals, sometimes I'll use feathers. You can use a magnet. The energy of your hands is sufficient. There's a lot of modalities with healing hands done. You can even rub your hands together and feel the energy, the vibration between your hands. And then the governing meridian goes from, if you think of just underneath your nose, over the bridge of your nose, the top of your head, around your back, all the way down to your tailbone, and zippers around between your legs and back up. With the energy of your hand, it's sufficient while we speak into what we're releasing, of doing this motion from the tip of your nose up over your forehead, the top of your head to the back of your head. And that will shift the energy of the suspension of I am shameful, that energy, out of your nervous system so it can be integrated. So if you'll do this with me, take your hand and on your nose, just swipe up and over top of your head and speak into I release, I am shameful. You can do it with both hands if you want. You can do it with one hand. You might feel pins and needles. You might feel goosebumps. You might feel something. You might feel nothing. It's all good. If you do this and you get a headache, wiggle your toes to ground your energy so it goes down into the earth. Without grounding, it can be like short circuiting and our energy moves like this and we can get headaches. We can get kind of a floaty feeling. And if you think of grounding like the third prong into the plug-in to send the electricity down to the earth so we don't short circuit ourselves. So now I'm going to test again. So I'm just using a pendulum for speed of, is I am shameful released? Yes. Okay. And then, so for me, a pendulum, a circle that's floating in a circle is a yes. A no is back and forth, a line. So now we are aligned to pure spirituality. We are 56%. So that was a big jump. Okay, we're going to a different chart now to bring it up to 100. So this is interesting. This is slave owner energy comes up that's in the way. Slave owner energy is often, if you're, it's often connected to ancestral energy, generational patterns, or past lives. So if I test into that, it's generational patterns. So we can inherit emotions, we can inherit PTSD from our 3rd, 5th, 100th grandfather or grandmother. These energies are eternal until they're processed. And so what we're doing right now is processing it so that it can integrate into our unified energy fields, into us, so that it's no longer a distorted energy. So no longer like a raisin, it's more like a grape. So it empowers us. Okay, so slave owner energy. And then it's on paternal side, so father's side, more than 100, 50, 40, 35, 6, 7, 8, 7. 37 generations on our father's side, our paternal side. Okay, so that's sufficient energy, it's enough information that we can release it. So let's do that motion again. So I release slave owner energy from my body. Wiggle your toes if you feel any sensations. From 37 generations on father's side, on our paternal side. I release, there it goes, slave owner energy. Okay. Let's see if we can, oh, we're really close. Perfect timing. So we're at 94%. We're really close. Good, good, good. All right. And there's thousands of rabbit holes we can go down to see what this is. Must never compromise. Okay, those are fighting words, must never compromise. Okay, let's see if it's connected to anything else. That one's a past life. 100, 2, 3, 4, 5. 487 past lives. And if that's outside of your belief system, think of it as generational patterns or cultural patterns that we've inherited. So we can release, must never compromise. So the constraint here is the must never. because it's an absolute, it's a polarity. Whenever we're looking at things like always or never, or the absolutes of polarity, we're actually limiting our freedom of choice. So we want the whole gamut of possibilities. We want the whole array of infinite options. So let's release this last one. So we're going to do that swiping motion again. And I release must never compromise from our body, and it's from 487 past lives. Releasing must never compromise energy from 487 past lives. Okay, now we are 100% aligned with pure spirituality. All right, the Parliament may carry on. Thank you for participating and doing this together. It really makes a difference, the group energy. So thank you. I love you that we all did that together and we're all aligned.